Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Sanchez, and today we are going to talk about what it really looks like to start a nonprofit from nothing. And not from a place of having everything figured out, but from a place of feeling called to do something and choosing to move anyways. So, the title for today and what we will be covering is called Starting a Nonprofit from Nothing, what it really takes to build community impact. And we are taking a mini deep dive on the real world look of what it means to build a nonprofit from the ground up. So, let's most importantly talk about why this story matters. So, a lot of times we hear about nonprofits or organizations, we hear the polished version. We hear about the success, the growth, and the impact, but we don't often hear enough about the beginning, right? About how folks started, where they led the foundation to make these organizations be what they are today. So there's not enough talk about the confusion, the doubt, or the moments where you're not sure if you're doing the right thing. And I think that's exactly where most people get stuck. And it's not because they don't care, but because they don't feel ready. But, right, for me, the moment I knew I had to build something was when I saw the real gaps in my community. It was too important for me to ignore those gaps. And there weren't enough systems that were existent to help fill those gaps. So I made a decision and I decided to act without a plan. I just decided to say, hey, I know I want to build something impactful. I want it to be community driven. But beyond that, I want it to be where it's helping women, especially underserved women. And the niche of my nonprofit, which is called Daughters of Both Sons, is focused on trauma informed care. And we focus on helping Black and Latino women on getting access to culturally aligned therapists. And I had to build that from the ground up. And that including building a path, right, of helping all of these women who were just, like me and had barriers to healthcare because mental health is healthcare and or resources helping them navigate these complex systems. So I had a vision in mind, right? And the vision was to break those gaps and those barriers. But even though I had that vision, I needed to execute my mission as well, right? So this didn't start as a business plan for me. It literally started with the gaps, with the needs, especially within my own community. And I saw the struggle to get support. And I said, enough is enough, right? And I didn't want to continue to ignore it. I didn't have a limited funding. I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't have all of the answers, but I knew one thing, and that was that I couldn't sit back and just do nothing, right? And most people think that starting up a nonprofit, that you would need to put in money, that you need this whole elaborate business plan, that you need to have those connections, and that success should happen quickly and automatically. And, you know, once you start, everything just starts falling into place. And I think, right, that the reality is, or I know that the reality is that that isn't reality. So let's talk about what it actually looks like, right? Going from what things really, look like. And the reality looks more like figuring things out as you go. As a nonprofit leader and organizer and a founder, you're literally wearing multiple hats. You are your brand ambassador, social media marketer, the CEO, the executive, the marketer, the partnership coordinator, sponsorship coordinator. You're looking for grants, you're managing interns when that time comes as well. You're facing rejection when you're first applying to multiple grants because for most nonprofits, they want to see the momentum before they start funding, and that can take minimum for most companies and foundations that want to give funding a 3 year minimum, right? And then you start second guessing yourself and you move forward anyway, and it gets really messy, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. And this is what I see and what I face on a daily basis, right? Especially with those growing pains. um, I had to start everything from the ground up. I really did. I had the mission, I had the vision, and I had experience. And I knew that I had what it took. I just had to be patient and I had to persevere, right? I had to persevere and I had to move forward and state this is my plan, this is my systems, this is how I'm going to organize myself. And then I started reaching out to a multitude of people. And through reaching out and the connections that I made and the way I pitched myself and the program and the confidence that I had was what helped me to build partnerships. And as I kept going and I kept reaching out and I followed the game plan, now let me get interns on board because I can't run this ship solo. And these interns need their hours for a various, programs that it could be social media and marketing, program management, a grant writing intern, MSW interns, right? They need the hours to complete their program. So this could be a win-win for me where I'm executing what I have to do and I'm taking control, right, of the partnerships and being the face of the brand. But having these interns in the background running the operations while I'm overseeing everything. So that is what it's looked like for me. And thankfully, we have had under a year a lot of success, a lot of partners. And I invite you, right, to look at our website at daughtersofbothsons.org so you can see all the events and the impact and the big partners that we have. And even local impact, right? Because if you want to run a nonprofit, even like ours, that, excuse me, is on a national level, we work very closely with the community because we want to be grassroots led and we want the community locally to know that we care about them. So we do a lot of impact work with various amount of organizations. And that's what you start learning as you're moving up into the nonprofit sector. There's a lot of connections that are made to be have. There's a lot of work, right? But it is fulfilling, it is meaningful work, and you're connecting with various organizations because where one lacks, another one can go ahead and jump in. So let's move along, right? And let's look at different steps, right, of what it takes to build a nonprofit. And let's look at step one. When you're looking to build a nonprofit, simply start with the problem, right? Everything starts with a problem, everything you care deeply about. So, not something that sounds good, not something that's trending, but something that you've seen or that you felt or that you've lived through. That connection is what will carry you along when times get hard, when you're facing rejections, right? Because at the beginning, you're building that credibility, you're pushing momentum, you're pushing your name, right, around various platforms with various organizations. And that takes time and that takes patience. So start with identifying a problem and one that you're passionate about. Because in this work in the nonprofit sector, you have to be passionate about the work that you're doing because that is what's going to lead you to go to the next steps moving forward. Step two, this is important, right? Building from lived experience. You don't need perfection to start. And I literally mean that. You've lived enough experiences already that give you the insight that someone else might not have. So people truly do connect to your authentic self, right? Way more far than any perfectionism. So instead of waiting to be polished or be 100% in that standard that you think that should be your nonprofit, start from what feels real and what is real to you. As long as you have your mission, you have your vision, you can build on that based on your lived experience because that is the testimony that's going to drive your nonprofit. And you're literally learning as you go. With nonprofits, we're learning consistently on what systems work, on what systems don't work, just like any other business. And we're adapting new systems as we move along. So that is extremely crucial and important. And step three, start before you're ready, right? So, you know, this is probably one of the hardest ones because we all want to feel prepared. But the truth is that clarity comes from action. You learn as you go. And if you wait until you feel 100% ready, you might never start, right? Um, and just imagine a time where you felt that, hey, I wasn't ready, right? I wasn't ready to do something that you thought you couldn't overcome, but you decided to face that fear and you moved along and you did it anyways. How good that felt to take that leap and to convince yourself, hey, I am capable and I can do this. So, you know, that is very crucial. And you gain confidence by doing the work, by the outreach, by reaching out to others that share your mission and vision, by aligning yourself to other organizations or businesses that have that mission driven impact that you're trying to execute and convey. And imperfect action is literally no action taken at all. So let's go to step four. And I think this is extremely, extremely important. Please ask for help. You are not meant to do this alone. And I had to learn that. And I had to learn it the hard way, whether it's with partners, volunteers, interns, mentors, or your community. Support is what makes all of this sustainable. So asking for help is not a weakness. It's part of building something real and that will be long lasting. And asking is part of the building process. You will learn that partnerships matter, right? And they're the legs that drive your mission and vision to move forward, especially that vision that you have to help others. So know that. asking for help is not a weakness, it's actually a sign of strength because you're admitting, hey, I'm not capable of doing this by myself right now. And I know I need the assistance to continue to move forward. And you're stronger working together than just working solo. So, step five, right? Stay visible. People need to see your work. What I tell many people is create backlinks, drive your SEO. Fiverr is a good source that I use to create website traffic, to also have backlinks to my website, which help move and index your website as well. Nonprofits get so many benefits, including Google grants, right? There's so many benefits that you get as a nonprofit. So know that people need to see your work, right? Visibility builds trust, and trust takes time. Um, Share what feels uncomfortable, okay? So it could feel uncomfortable, but know that it does matter. And the consistency over the perfection is what makes a true impact, right? And I am 100% a believer of consistency over perfection is going to win at the end of the day. So, what challenged me the most? I would have to say, especially as the founder, burnout was a real thing. Working consistently. I still work consistently to push everything that I'm doing. I'm partnered with universities. I work with other organizations. We're partnered with NAMI. We're partnered with Operation Hope, other financial programs that help, right, bring financial literacy and resources and various therapists in our network. So as I'm continuing to build these relationships and I'm trying to get access for folks to get the resources, you get burnt out. So, what's important is that you, for sure, do some self care. That is extremely important, right? Doubt comes in because you ask yourself, am I really able to get the work done that I need to get done? Am I going to fall off, or fall flat on my face? Are people going to acknowledge and appreciate what I've created, what I've taken so much time and so much effort to build? So that was a really big challenge. And I literally told myself, I am going to get this done. Any doubt that is in my mind, I am going to reject that and I'm going to move forward because this is the vision and mission that I have for my organization. And I won't lose anything if I haven't gained anything. So that is utmost important. Um, Financial pressure, thinking, right, that you have to have all the resources. You know what? Balancing life responsibilities in this type of work is a lot. And I did have to put, right, some of my resources, and we've gotten a bunch of help financially as well. But upkeeping that, right, and being able to speak to stakeholders, to in kind donors, fundraising, and making ourselves known even locally, there's a lot of pressure because we want to continue to see the program successful, right? So financial pressure is a big one, right? Because you want the longevity of your organization to stay relevant and balancing life and purpose. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I'm a wife. So having that balance, having support from my partner is very crucial in all of the work that I'm doing. So on the weekends, I tend, to focus more on my family and I'm hyper focused during the week on the work that I'm doing, which doesn't mean I'm not checking in consistently, but it does mean there has to be a balance, right? there has to be balance within the purpose as well, because you have to meet all of your needs, right? And then you have other responsibilities as well. So those are things that I can say have challenged me the most. But what has kept me going is that my mission mattered way more than any fear I could have had, right? Real people needed that support, and I found that to be fulfilling. And it fulfilled me and it kept me moving when I started seeing people get the support that they needed. Small wins literally do build momentum. It does, and it gives your nonprofit more recognition. And the purpose kept me grounded, and it's what keeps me grounded moving forward to keep doing the work that I do. Because you have to have a passion to want to work with people when you're doing this type of work in nonprofit organizations. So if it's not for you, like I say, this is not for the weak. You really have to have a passion for wanting to help and see people succeed, right? And help them get the resources that they need. And one thing that I did wish that I knew, right? Because at first I was like, hey, maybe I'm not ready to do this. It's not time yet. I should wait a little bit. Maybe wait till the kids get settled a little bit more. Um, and that's not the case, right? I wish that I didn't need permission to start or think that I needed permission, because growth takes time, right? And those small steps are enough, and they matter, and the community matters more than having everything perfect on a daily basis. So those are things that I wish I had in front of my mind more, because I am type A, and I've learned that not everything has to be 100% perfect, but it has to be intentional. It has to be intentional. And what I want you all to remember is that if you take anything away from this talk that I've had with you today, let it be this: you can start wherever you are. You don't have to have things figured out. Your experience matters more than you know, and you're capable of creating impact. And impact has long lasting effects, and it changes lives. It truly does. So, you know, I do want to introduce here as we're closing. You're probably here thinking, I want to do something, but I don't know where to start. And I've created a 30-day nonprofit starter plan that walks you through simple and real steps that you can take. And it's available in the Summit bundle if you decide to upgrade. And more than anything, I just want to remind you, you don't have to do everything. You just have to start. And that is the most important takeaway here. Um, Having the initiative to start in the drive, and knowing that you have that passion is what is going to lead you forward. So, thank you today for having this talk with me on having, or listening, I should say, to me on how to start a nonprofit from the ground up. I appreciate that you have listened to me this far, and we are available if you ever need any resources, or if you need, if you know someone that does need, excuse me, resources. We're here, we're available, and we're ready to support. You can reach out directly. There would be info on my speaker profile, and you got this, and you have what it takes to make an impact. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your day or evening or night. Thank you.